All right, students, today we will be working on the extraction of the pigments from spinach, and we are going to be using regular spinach, Popeye spinach from our awesome Salinas Valley. This spinach is a little bit old and wilted, but that is totally fine because we will be able to still extract our pigments from our spinach leaves. So I'm going to start off by weighing 10 grams of spinach. Since this is just regular spinach, it's okay to touch with your hands. And it's rather moist, so probably won't need too much in terms of volume here. All right, so we got about 10 grams of spinach here. This is actually 12, but that's okay since it's a little bit wilted. It'll be a little more moist as the spinach leaves are kind of wilted and old. All right, so let's go ahead and get this spinach into a mortar and pestle, and we're going to crush it up with some methanol. Okay, so we have our spinach here. I'm going to go ahead and place it in my mortar. I'm going to measure out 12 milliliters of methanol, and I'm going to go ahead and start crushing my spinach leaves with the methanol. All right, once I start crushing here, I'm going to move the motor closer to the camera so that you guys can see the color I'm getting from my spinach. And because this spinach is a little older and somewhat wet, you'll see here that I'm getting somewhat of a kind of greenish gray consistency, almost like a hunter green. And I'm going to keep crushing here though, because what the methanol is going to be doing for me here is breaking up the cell walls and preparing my spinach for some more extraction. Okay, so I'm going to do this for a few minutes total just to ensure that I'm helping break up cell walls and really mushing the junk out of this spinach here. Okay, and as I crush more, my color gets darker and darker here. But if you notice, it's still somewhat of a yellowy green color going on. It's kind of looking like a rotten spinach color at the moment, but we'll see a different green once we get in some hexanes. Okay, now that I have this very well mashed, I'm going to go ahead and use my gloved hand to help me gather up as much solid spinach as I possibly can. And I'm going to decant my liquid here into a 250 milliliter beaker. And because this liquid will not produce the extract we want for the thin layer chromatography, I'll go ahead and spill out as much as I can. And this is a pretty messy experiment, so we get a whole lot of liquid everywhere. So the cleanup is going to be a little bit epic. Okay, one last look at the color of the liquid here. It's kind of like a yellowy green color, almost like a spring green. I'm going to go ahead and finish decanting all of that. And now we're going to add our second set of liquids for extract. All right, now that I have decanted all of the liquid from my spinach wad here, I'm going to go ahead and add 5 more milliliters of methanol. This time, I also will be adding some hexanes. So hexanes is a much less polar liquid, and the polarity of this liquid is going to be important to help us extract the compounds that we want for the TLC. All right, now hexane smells very much like gasoline, so we're doing this in the fume hood so that we won't be smelling that terrible gasoline smell. No judgment if you like it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get crushing again. And after I give this a few pushes with the pestle, I will show you the difference in color that we will be seeing from our extract. We have been crushing this up for you, and I just want you to notice the difference in the color versus the first set of liquids that I added for crushing. So before I just added methanol, now with some hexanes, if you notice, we're getting a much deeper green color in the liquid that I'm extracting from my spinach pigments here. And this is nice because this dark green color will have the pigments that we're interested in for our thin layer chromatography. Let me go ahead and decant this into a beaker, and then we'll get started with some liquid-liquid separation. And we're going to go ahead and move on over to the separatory funnel.